Here it is. Due to the housing crisis in California, many renters in incorporated cities and LA County that don't have rent control, including Culver City, are concerned about the stability and affordability of their housing. Culver City is unique in that it also has a lot of rental housing built prior to 1995, before Costa-Hawkins was enacted. And Culver City has become a desirable place to rent and buy because of the small school district and family neighborhoods. Without fighting to pass a rent control law, which can be disastrous for tenants in older units, pit community members against each other, cause the aging rentals to be torn down for new housing, what regulations can be set in our city that would help both renters and landlords reach agreements that work for everyone?
Well, I think the key in Culver City is to make sure that we do as much as we can before things get to the landlord mediation tenant board. Because once things get to that point, basically it's too late. Like, both sides are incredibly polarized, and there's a lot of tension between each side. What I've been speaking about, in contrast to rent control, which people always bring up in political campaigns as a means to flame throw and really actually just cause consternation and make people angry, is having a renter's bill of rights that would protect renters in the case of an increase, and it would just give them a longer period of time. For instance, I've asked, for instance, if we raise rent by 3 to 10% per year, that's usually accepted even in rent control cities. Sometimes it's as little as 3, sometimes it's as much as 10. But if people's rent gets raised by 100 to 200 to 600%, they should have a longer period of time in which to vacate the premises, or they should be given relocation fees. Because most of the time, the landlord is trying to remove these tenants because they want to redevelop the entire building, or they want to build a new building. So it would be great for them if we could get them out faster. But we need to make sure, if these tenants are forced to leave in a quick manner, that they have some place to go. And I think providing for relocation fees works in the landlord's favor, because it gets these tenants out and it gets them to the point where they can redevelop their property as quickly as possible without putting people on the street. I think.
Thanks, Daniel. Thank you so much.
But different ideas like that.
Alex.
Well, it's a very carefully phrased question, which makes it tough to answer.
But that's why it's phrased in the
Yeah, it is. There is no great solution. We have a major housing crisis, and the general plan process is going to be the opportunity that's long overdue to talk about how we can accommodate a few more neighbors, I think, and hopefully that's where we'll come out. We can envision a way of living in parts of the city that preserves the neighborhoods, like most of Sunkist Park, while allowing a few more units. That said, we're a small city in a surrounded by a major metropolitan area, and we're very, very limited in what we can do. And it's heartbreaking, knocking on doors and talking to people who are 80 years old and have had to return to work to maintain their home is difficult. It's been a difficult. One of the hardest things is those stories. I definitely think we should look at. We should probably convene tenants, landlords, and housing advocates and experts and talk about whether there's anything that can be done. I am, as much as a policy wonk as I am, the only thing I've really come across that is necessary is sort of the advance notice for significant rent hikes, because 60 days is not enough for a senior who's going to have to figure out an entire new way of living.
Thank you. Mark.
What I would propose is we get some members of the landlord-tenant mediation board, we get some tenants, we get some property owners, property managers together in a room, and we talk it out. We figure out which things are really a problem and which things are a perceived problem. So at least we know what's going on. Something that's been crossing my mind also in relation to this is Section 8. That deals with usually low-income people, subsidizing their rent, if you will, for a bit. But what about the lower middle class? There's nothing there for them. That's a gap. Maybe some sort of voucher program. How it's funded, we've got to talk about that, figure that out. But this has been a really valid and hot topic this election cycle and probably the last 2 election cycles. If we did have a voucher, some sort of voucher program, if you will, for the lower middle class, maybe that would be part of the solution, but we would all have to vote on that.
As being a former member of the Tenant Landlord Mediation Board, mediation does work. Actually, I've seen some great results come out of a lot of the mediations that come through a landlord and tenants just have issues, and they come through us, and we really do create a path for them. I would love to see that board really have a little more teeth, a little more authority. In this last council meeting, they sort of, well, actually, they did say the same thing. We really need to talk with Tevis Barnes and find out, a solution, something that works, something that will protect the seniors, so our seniors can age in place. Maybe a state voucher where it's sort of a win-win. I think vouchers, there's a lot of rules and regulations, and some of the mom and pop sort of landlords, it's a little too much for them to handle. So maybe a state voucher where it's sort of a win-win, the state will cover the balance of whatever the tenant can afford, but it's on a need and money basis. But I think talking with Tevis Barnes, who's really our authority on housing, we need housing. We need really housing. We need housing stock. I think density is a way to create that. The more housing we have, it'll make available some housing that's a little more affordable. But I think in talking with our city officials, countywide and citywide, we can really come to a solution that works for the landlord and the tenant.
Thank you.